to everyone. I hope you guys are all doing well. So let's go for the breakdown of this week. So we're actually Wednesday, the 28th of December 2022, and I'm going to do a small breakdown of what I think is going to happen to the GBP USD, Euro USD, Gold, and Bitcoin. Of course, we have so much markets, but those are the one in which I am the most interested. So let's start with Euro USD. Okay, so Euro USD basically, very simple. I think we need to take a small step back and see a bit what is happening on the market. So as everyone knows, we're actually in a crisis, which means that the market is of course going down. The dollar is taking a lot of value thanks to the inflation, and everything is just losing value against the dollar. So basically, I think that Euro USD will continue to drop way down, and I'm actually having some beautiful sell points, which I'm going to share with you guys. So if I go on a daily basis, we can see that we're on a bearish trend line, but just to get back quickly on the weekly, we can see exactly that we had a whole bearish structure. So the last high before the trend reversal was this one, and if I take my medium, I can see that we actually came and reacted perfectly to the 50% of Fibonacci, which correspond to the 1.0727, and you can see that the market created a wick and went down, but I think it's going to come up to this zone. So let's go in shorter time frames. As you guys can see, we have a lot of POI, but there is one zone in which I am very interested, and this zone is the 1.08 zone, which is directly in the gray zone you guys can see here. So anyway, we got the last break of the whole bullish monthly structure right here, and we can see that the high that broke our structure was exactly this one. So I've got my POI right here, which is this blue zone, and we can see that this blue zone corresponds with the gray zone I have in my 1.08 zone. Anyway, let's go in 4 hour, and I'm going to explain you guys what I think and how I think this is going to happen. So you can see that the small zone, the small gray zone I have, is actually in my blue POI, which is the daily last OB I had before the break of the monthly bullish structure. And if I take it away, you can see that we get a break of structure right here, okay, with some imbalance and our order block, but the market came very close to it and didn't touch it, which means that I personally think that we have a lot of liquidity that needs to be taken here by the institutional in order for the market to then continue his way to the downside. And if we look at it, we can see that the blue zone we have here is a daily zone, yeah? And look, if I take this line, we can see that we have equal highs. And remember, equal highs are zone that the market love to break a little bit in order to take liquidity and in order to trap all the traders, which means that if the market break those equal highs, everyone is going to think that the market is now going to go up. So everyone is going to buy, which will make totally sense, because if we come back to my 4 hour zone, we will take some liquidity, everyone will start to buy, and then from this the market will drop down. So if I extend my line right now, we can see that this will be a beautiful liquidity grab. Market come right here and then goes down. Once the market break those high, everyone will start to buy. This is when the seller are going to come in and the market will potentially drop. So now let's go back in daily, yeah? Because don't forget that we are bearish on the long term, which means that the higher time frame are the one in which we are supposed to be the more interested in. And we can see that this premium supply that we have in daily is a big zone, and you can see that the market actually created some very interesting wicks right here, which means that the market can easily come here, okay, close in the zone. So if we don't have a closure above this zone with a daily candle, that will mean that we're still bearish. And now what I think is going to happen, as always, is the market is going to come here, a candle is going to close right here, okay, something like this. Then we're going to have another candle, which is going to be right next to it. Sorry for my professional attitude to paint candles anyway. And I think we can do a big wick like this, something like this, yeah? So the market can come, close in the zone, create a wick on a daily basis, because you know that on a 4 hour basis the market can easily come up, close there, and then open here and go back again. But on a daily basis, yeah, because a lot of things can happen in a day, we know that the market can create a wick, come grab liquidity, and then continue his way to the upside, which will add one more validation to the fact that the market is bearish. So never be trapped by the smaller time frame, and when you're analyzing the market on a long term to potentially take like a big short, if I can say, it's very important to take in consideration the fact that you can come create wicks on a daily basis to then go back down. So here is what I think for the Euro USD. Very simple. I think we're going to come back to the gray zone we have here. So I think we're going to come back to this zone to then potentially drop to the downside. Is it sure at 100% that this is going to happen? Absolutely not. And that's why as a trader we are supposed, and we need to manage our risk in a correct way in order to, even if we take that trade and the trade doesn't go well, we will not risk risk more than 1 or 2%, which at the end doesn't matter if we lose them. It's just something I wanted to add, which I think is very, very important to the people to know. And that's it. So let's continue into the breakdown. So the first zone I think the market is going to come reach is going to be this one. So I'm having a lot of take profit, yeah. So I have this first zone, and then I have this one, which is right there. So those are the two first take profit I will have once the market come here. If he drop down, which I think he's gonna do, this will be my first take profit, this will be my third take profit, and then this will be my second take profit, and then of course I'm gonna have a third take profit, which I'm simply gonna let melt for the market. Now let's go back on a FXM chart. So if I go on a weekly basis, we can see that we have some zone, very important zones, yeah, in which I think the market need to come. So we have a premium demand on a weekly basis, okay, with imbalance, which is an engulfing block. And I think personally that the Euro USD is gonna come to this zone, which correspond to the 0.88 euro for $1. And this will simply validate the scenario I actually have for the market to go down. So I think that the market as a last target, or maybe even more after, but like right now for the couple of weeks or months that are coming, I think that the market can easily go to the 0.88. And this will definitely lead to a 18% drop on the EURUSD, which is fucking huge. I mean, if we go back there, just yeah, in 2021, and we take the whole drop we get from there, if we go then to 0.88, it will be a 28% drop. That's insane. And that is actually the proof that we're in a crisis. So let's go to GU. So for the GU, we are a bit in the same situation. We have a beautiful contraction zone right here. We have a premium supply in daily, but if we take the last high that really came to break the whole structure, we can see that the high was this one. So now if I come, we basically have two zones. Yeah, we have this order block, which is right here, which we came and we touched it. But more than this, I personally think that we have an engulfing block right here in which we can come to grab liquidity in order to then go back. So the two zones I have on the GU basically are those one. We have this premium supply and we have this beautiful engulfing block. And you can see that, look, we came here, so the first supply failed, the second supply failed, and we create some equal highs. And once again, as you guys can see, when we have equal highs, the market love to come break them to take some liquidity in order to trap the seller. So what happened? Everyone tried to sell the market here. The market came back up, which means that a lot of people bought the market. What happened then is the market started to drop down. So now all the people that bought the market are having their stops below this level and below this level, and those people are maybe going to be stopped. And what is then going to happen? People are going to start to sell the market because they're going to think, oh, this is the right entry to sell it. And what the market is then going to do, I think, he's simply going to come up again. So all the sellers are once again going to be trapped. He's going to come in this region right here to take some liquidity, or maybe here, but I will personally more stay on this zone right here. And so what is going to happen? All the sellers are going to be stopped. They're going to say to themselves, oh, damn, I need to buy the market right now. And then the market is simply going to drop down, which will give us kind of the same approach to the GU and the EU. So those are my zone, regardless to the GBP USD. And I think that the market, yeah, can then easily come. So first of all, to this daily zone as I take profit 1. Then I will have this zone as I take profit 2. And so the last zone I will have when it comes to the weekly chart will be the £1, $1 zone. I think this zone is a psychological level in which the market can potentially come in. I mean, I think we have a lot of probability to go in. And yeah, it's just simply something that will mark the history with the crisis we're actually living. And I think it's something that will put the GBP in a very, very bad situation. And to be honest with you, I do even think that like the United Kingdom can potentially reintegrate the European Union based on the fact that the situation is going to be so bad for their economy. So anyway, yeah, so that's my first zone. Yeah, zone number 1, zone number 2, and zone number 3. Long-term target, trying to play the continuation of the crisis we're actually living. And if we come here and we drop here, it's going to be once again a 19, close to 20% drop. I mean, it's huge. It's so insane. And if you go back there, I mean, they're on a daily basis. Okay, let's go back to May 21. I mean, if we take it from the top, which was there to there, it's a 30% drop. Like the U, it's fucking huge. So that's what I think is going to happen for the GU on a long-term basis, guys. Okay, now let's go have a look on gold. Okay, so gold, very simple. So we got a beautiful break of structure right here. I'm gonna go on a monthly basis first because I think that's the monthly is the most important. Yeah, so we can literally see that this was the last low, this was the last high. We break the structure here on a monthly basis. Let me take that away. Let's go on a weekly basis. So we can see that we have the last low, which was here, and we get a beautiful break of structure with this high, which is right here, and the low right here. So this is our last bearish structure. So that's our last bearish structure. Now let me give you guys my point of view on the market, and you're going to see, I think it's something very, very interesting. So I think personally gold is going to drop too, okay? If all the markets are dropping, I think gold is going to drop. And even if I base myself on the fact that we're actually living a very bad period, and on a fundamental point of view, the gold is supposed to go up, I think that everyone is actually thinking this. So this is the reason why I think that the gold is going to go down, because everyone is buying gold, everyone thinks gold is going to go long based on the actual situation we're living. But I think that on a short-term period, which means on a couple of weeks or months, the gold can go down to then continue his way to the upside on a long-term basis. Very simple. If the gold respects his cycle, for example, on a monthly basis, he do something like this or something like this, it doesn't really matter, to then continue his way to the upside, we're going to have a very healthy long-term cycle, which will even validate the fact that the gold is taking a lot of value based on the actual world situation we're living in. But if the gold, and remember that's exactly what I said with the Bitcoin, if the gold come and just do this will not make sense. A market has cycle, and he need to respect them in order to be healthy and in order to continue on the long term, and this is something people need to understand. So weekly basis, let me go on a daily one so you guys can see that. Okay, let me first show you something. So we get two beautiful zones, yeah? I have a first supply which is right there with imbalance, and you can see that, look, the market came in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and he never closed above this zone, okay? We always close below it. So we're creating a lot of wicks, and that means that we have a lot of liquidity to take right here. But if I go a bit up, we can see that, look, this candle right here, we put the market just quickly back. If I go back there, we can see that when the market was here, we have this engulfing block on a weekly basis with imbalance. And remember, guys, once again, imbalance means that we need to come grab liquidity. So I think that the market, and I said it like 2-3 weeks ago to my people on the community, that the market can come on a weekly basis, close in our weekly demand, but create some wicks to take liquidity in this last weekly engulfing block to then continue, okay, his way to the upside with something like this, and then boom, we continue and we simply go down. I think that that's what the gold can do. And now if we come on the market, we can see that the gold is actually doing this. So now let's go on a shortened time frame. So on a shortened time frame, we can see that in our weekly engulfing block zone, in which I told you guys that I think we need to come grab liquidity, we have a zone, yeah, a zone on a 1 hour basis, which is exactly this one. And this zone that you can see right here is a beautiful supply with imbalance that actually corresponds to our open price range from the 27th of January. Oh damn, that was my birth date. That was my fucking birthday, man. It's insane. Anyway, so we have our zone which is right there, so I'm going to take away the weekly zone, and this zone for me, okay, this supply is a supply in which we can come grab liquidity. I mean, it's just insane because I'm realizing that the supply I'm waiting to come in is the supply that corresponds with my birthday date. So let's say if this is going to work, guys. Yeah, so this zone here, okay, is the zone in which I think the market need to come create a wick, grab some liquidity to then continue his way to the downside. Let's go on a 4 hour basis. Yeah, so this will be our zone. And if you're going to back on a weekly basis, because always, so as I told you guys, we always need to base ourselves on the long-term structure in order to know where the market will go the next days, weeks and months. And this is very important because if we know where the market is going to go the next weeks or months, we know what can potentially happen on the short term, which means that no matter which type of trader you actually are, it's always very important to analyze the market on a long-term basis in order to then know what the short term can do. So remember, on the weekly, I told you that we have this supply right here, okay, in which I think we're going to close above, and we're going to create a wick that is going to come into this zone today, tomorrow, next week, I don't know. And we're then gonna continue our way to the downside. So to give you guys my target on the beautiful short I'm actually waiting for, I have two zones. So I have this are the block right here, which contain imbalance, and we can see that we have once again equal lows right here. And remember, equal lows is a zone in which the market love to come and take liquidity, and the market love to break it at least a little bit in order to take liquidity and go back. So what is going to happen? I think that the market can come there, okay? Let's see, but I think it can come there, maybe grab some liquidity to then go back to the upside. Do I think at 100% this will happen? I think it's a potentiality. Let's suppose the market doesn't do that. Where do I think that the market will have the ability to come? So I think that we have a last zone, which is this engulfing block in which the market can potentially come if we break this low here, okay? But I think that this low can be the zone where the gold is going to rebound from to continue his way to the upside. But we know that in the market we can never be sure at 100%, and we always need to take all the probabilities in consideration. So if the market come and break below this low, this is going to be the next target that I think we can reach. But to be honest and fair with you, I think that this one is the most important one for me actually. And if you analyze a bit how much that's going to be, yeah, it's a 21% drop. And if I take the last high we had right here, we've got that 30% drop. So you can see, guys, that all the market we just analyzed together, they all had basically the same drop percentage. And the 20-30% drop are really percentage that we always see when we leave a financial crisis. So this is my view, guys, for the gold. Of course, those are long-term analyses, but I mean, it's so important to do this. Like, let's say you catch up now the big sell, yeah? You can come and you can simply like sell the market from here, and then you let it melt for days, weeks, or even months, and you don't even have to touch it anymore. And I think that's the real purpose of trading. It's good to do day trading and all the things, but I think it's very important to be able to analyze the market on a long-term basis, because even on a personal point of view and on a stress point of view, it allows you guys to have like less risk and less liquidity movement. Okay, if I sell the market from this daily point and the market start to go down like this, the market can do what he wants. This is not going to impact me because I sell from the very top. And the people are always trapped trading short-term time frame in which you have the biggest manipulation, and this lead us actually to be fucked by the market. I'm sorry to say it, but it's the reality. Then of course, if the market goes down, you can trade all the corrections. So if the market does this and he do a correction and you have a beautiful zone here, you can then trade it. But what I'm saying is that selling from the top is really what you're looking for as trader. And if you want to do like a lot of money on a long-term basis, and you want to have access to huge funds and have good contacts in your life and all those things, you need to be able to predict those type of market simply in order to have the most probability of success. So we did EURUSD, gold, GBP/USD, and of course we're gonna do the BTC. So Bitcoin is doing very well as I predicted it. So we are actually in the beautiful crash I was waiting for since all those months. And so we have here a couple of zones in which I'm very interested. Let me share them with you guys. So the first zone for me will be the zone which is between 12 and 9,839. Okay, this is for me a demand in which the market can come to then potentially continue his way to the upside. Does that mean the market is going to do this at 100%? Absolutely not. Why? Because let me tell you something. So I'm going to say something very controversial, and I think a lot of people are not going to like it, because it's always the same thing. When you say things that are against the majority, people just don't like it. So a lot of things happen in their brain in order to convince themselves that you're wrong. And I actually don't really care to be wrong or right. I'm just explaining you and showing you what the market is actually telling us. So what I think is not what I think based on my personal point of view. What I think is based on the information the market is giving me, and I'm basing myself exactly on the same thing that the institutional are basing themselves. So long story short, this is our first demand zone that I think personally we're gonna go reach at 100%. But I have some other zone in which I'm very interested, and I'm actually afraid, to be honest with you. So the zone are those one, yeah? We have the zone which is between 2.8k and 1.6k. Why do I think this zone is an important zone? Because if I go back on a weekly basis, yeah, you guys can see that we have here a beautiful order block with imbalance. But more than this, what do we have here? We have equal lows. And remember what I told you? Equal lows are zones in which the market loves to come, grab liquidity, to then continue his way to the downside. At least a bit, yeah? So, what I think the Bitcoin can do, maybe very quick with a week. And I'm taking a lot of risk with saying this, but once again, I'm just giving you the information the market is giving me, yeah? What the Bitcoin can potentially do is to come back to this zone. So let me give you a more accurate zone. The zone is going to be between 2.831,000 and 2,390, okay? So this is a zone in which the market can come on the equal lows, grab some liquidity, and then continue his way to the upside. And I will absolutely not be surprised if the market does this. Because just think like on an investor point of view, yeah? Everyone invested when the Bitcoin was so high. There. So what are the people actually saying to themselves? I'm waiting to buy the dip. Okay, beautiful. But where is the dip? What are the people thinking about the point where we can find our real dip? And the majority of people are basing themselves on the 10k zone, okay, which is a psychological number. And so when the market is going to come at the 10k, I personally think that a lot of people are going to buy it again, you know. And I think the market is maybe going to do a small pump, but what I really think is that then the market is going to continue his way to the downside. And what is going to happen in people's psychology when the market is going to do this? Very, very simple. People are going to be afraid as fuck. They're going to be like, damn, bro, Bitcoin is bearish. Bitcoin was maybe a scam. I'm actually losing too much money. I don't want to invest in that shit anymore. And so this is when the fear takes place. People are thinking that people are actually afraid because the market is going down. But trust me, like, people are going to be afraid if the market go really down. Like if the market come to like 3,000, this is going to be a 95% drop. And that is insane. I mean, if we come to the 10k, it's already a 82% drop. That's insane. But 95% drop, that's huge. And this is where everyone is going to start to speak about the Bitcoin in a bad way. And this is exactly the moment where we as trader and smart investor are supposed to have a light that directly switch on in our mind. And we need to be like, oh, okay, damn, this is maybe the right moment. And the cool thing about this is that the technical analysis, no matter what everyone tell you, give you always the right zone, okay? The 19k zone was technical analysis prediction, and the market reacted perfectly to it. Look, and what gave me those information? The technicals. Look, we came and reacted perfectly to it. So the crush prediction I did was based on the technicals. So no matter what people say, I think that the markets give you all the information you need to have. So to go on a daily basis and give you guys a bit more information, we get here a beautiful supply that we broke with imbalance that the market like didn't touch, and I think that the market will have the ability maybe to come back to this supply to then continue his way to the downside. I think that if we need actually to continue our short-term bearish structure we have here and even long-term, this will be a zone in which the market can come to then potentially drop to the 12k zone, which is this one. So very simple. I don't have to have too much information and too much thing about the market. I just need to base myself on the logical zone in which once again the institutional are basing themselves. So Bitcoin, I think he can come here 22,000 zone before to continue his way to the downside. And on a long-term basis, mark my words, I think Bitcoin is gonna come first of all between the 12 and 9,000 zone. And if he doesn't go up from this zone, I truly think we can come back to the last equal lows and come grab liquidity. And if we go a bit down, look, like, I mean, it's in front of us, equal lows, liquidity. So that's it. And then of course I have a last, but this is like really the last demand zone. I don't think the Bitcoin is gonna come to this zone, but like everything is possible. But this zone is between 1.4k and $900. But if the Bitcoin does this, like, shit, that's gonna be savage. So yeah, anyway, guys, here was my breakdown about the gold, GEO, USD and Bitcoin. I give you today some long-term information that I think are gonna happen. And of course from now I'm gonna do breakdowns every week in order to show you where the market is gonna go, no matter if it's on the short term and the long term. But you need to know that I really love to analyze the market on a long-term basis, because that's the thing that allowed me to do so well on the market, to do some very good amount of money, and of course to be right, if I can say, 95% of the time. So guys, that was it. If you guys are interested in my content, if you guys are interested in those breakdown and simply smash the market with me, don't forget to put a like on this video and don't forget to follow me. I'm really trying to build a beautiful community and to really bring this material out to the world with honesty, professionalism and insane record numbers. So guys, take care. It was Sami. See you next time. Bye.